Hi everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great day. So this is a clip from a previously recorded video. This is a much shorter clip of it, but as always, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research, and I'm invested in closing companies. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's get into the clip. So Iris Energy announces monthly investor update for July 2023. And here's what we have as far as the details are on it. This is gonna be pretty quick. One thing I don't like about Iris is they provide the average hash rate per their operations. I wish they would provide the actual operation, the hash rate that they have installed, running, not the operations, because that way I could at least see if they're curtailing a little bit. With them providing the average, I can't tell if they're curtailing, and I have to sometimes even add in extra dollars to make it work for my numbers. Okay, I'll point that out to you guys in the spreadsheet here in a little bit. But here's the average operating hash rate, 5,562 petahash, which is basically 5.56 exahash. Bitcoin mine was 423, so a good month for Bitcoin mining there. And here's some key takeaways from what they've provided here. Record data center operations at 111 degrees Fahrenheit, 44 degrees Celsius intake temperatures. It was a hot, obviously, a month in July. We had a heat wave go through the United States. And, well, in Texas, especially in places other, just a little bit north of that. So they were able to maintain stable hash rate through extreme temperatures, demonstrates Iris Energy's industry leading data centers, and further validates proprietary air-cooled data center design. At those temperatures, personally, I probably would have just shut those off for at least the peaks, the high at noon, probably to like maybe 4 o'clock. I would have shut those off, let the miners have a little bit of a breather, because it is very taxing on the miners when that does happen. I would have liked to have known what the actual inside temperature was when they were mining on those, or what the internals were of those miners, because I'm guessing those were pretty hot. When I was managing a mining farm, whenever we got close to like 95 or something like that, we would actually shut down just to let the miners breathe and rest a little bit before we plugged them back in. Towards later in the day, when the sun was actually starting to come down a little bit and the heat was kind of starting to drop a little bit. Okay, that's just my take on that. And operations for the month, average operating hash rate, we talked about that. Also, the monthly operating revenue was 12.7 million. I think I have it at 12.7 million, 25, something like that. 423 Bitcoin mines. And then here's also kind of interesting. Higher electricity cost per Bitcoin was at 15.5 thousand versus the 13,000 in June. This was primarily attributable to higher prices at Childress during the month, typically higher during summer months, and reduced market volatility, lower energy trading proceeds. The company retains flexibility to reduce further power costs through adjusting miner output in response to changes in miner economics. So that's good there, but obviously they're paying a lot more for it. And as we'll look at Riot and Marathon also, Marathon curtailed a little bit here, but Riot definitely curtailed quite a bit. So it's a little surprising there with the numbers. We'll take a look at those here in a second, but let's get into the spreadsheet that I do have for them, and there's not much else going on here. They appointed a Sunita Parasuraman to board of directors. Okay, and that's about it. He has experience with Meta, VMware, Genentech, and Apple. So definitely some good experience there. Okay, let's take a look at the numbers that we do have for Iris, and we'll go through this kind of quickly here. So shares outstanding is about 54.9 million. Stock price is at $5.73. Market cap 315 million. As we look at their 12-week performance here, they've been up quite nicely here from 12 weeks, up 76%. 8 weeks even better, 79%. 4 weeks are down 2.2% from there, and they're down from last week. Last week they were down 3.55%. Okay, current hash rate as they reported, which is their average. Unfortunately, I wish they would provide the actual hash rate installed, which they might be at the 5.7 exahash that we're seeing here. They don't hodl anything. They sell pretty much everything that they mine. And then we can see here their production here is down a little bit from June at 423 from 428. May obviously had the network transaction fees in there as well. That helped a lot of the miners out. So it is down a little bit, just slightly from June. Okay. Here you can see the monthly difference as far as how much they mined month-to-month difference on it. BTC hodl obviously 0. BTC per exahash, very efficient here, 75.71 based on the average. If I actually had the actual numbers, this probably would have been a little bit lower than that. And you can see the BTC number of sold. Hash rate has been pretty much stuck at above 5.5. They just went up a little bit here in June to 5.587. And they've been stuck there for the last 2 months now. Bitcoin mining revenue was at 12.726 million that I calculated. They said 12.7. So we're pretty close to that as well. Hash rate difference, obviously not much installed here in the last month. And let's see here, what else do we have here? Bitcoin sold, pretty much the opposite of what they mined. They pretty much sold everything. last 4 quarters, you guys can take a look at those metrics here. And we do have, I forgot to add this in here. So I will add this in here. I've been going through a lot of these, obviously 6 updates to all the miners that provided their numbers today. So I did forget this one. I will try to get this in later on today, and we'll see how that goes. So that will be updated for the Patreon members by the time I upload this. Okay, but based on that, here's what I'm talking about as far as having to add actual dollars to their operations, because based on with their average hash rate, I have it running basically at the full 30 days here in July. And I had to add another $623,000 into it for it to make sense to get to the 12,725,000 roughly of revenue into it. So had they provided the actual exahash that they have installed, that number might be at the 5.7 exahash, might be a little bit higher, don't know. But this is why I have to add in actual dollar amounts to make it work. I don't have to do this for any other miners except for them. Okay, so that's that on that one as far as how we're looking at things right now. So if we're looking at the current quarter that we're in and the last 3 quarters, which the prior quarter Q2 is an estimate right now until we get the results from them. And then the prior 2 quarters to that, so that would be what is that going to be? Q4 and Q1, I believe, or Q4 and Q3. I can't remember, there's too many quarters involved in here. But somewhere around there, those 2 are actual numbers for them. And we're looking at a total combined income of $97 million for that. And if we're looking at P of 15, we're looking at a stock price of $13.27 and 75% net income. We're looking at P of 15 also at $19. They're at $5.73. Definitely way undervalued right now from where I think they should be. If we look forward, so if we take the current month of July numbers and multiply that times the number of months we have left until the halving event, which is like around 8, and then we basically half the revenue after the halving and multiply that by the remainder 4 months or something like that, we get $127 million in revenue, 50% net income, P of 15, we're looking at $17.36, and 75% net income, P of 15, we're looking at $26.04. So if you're forward looking, this is kind of where they probably should be. And it looks like the analysts here, at least from last month in June, for June numbers, they were at $13 for the high and $7 for the low. So that was kind of in line with, well, it was actually lower than what I have them at. Okay, but definitely I believe that they are undervalued. They should be valued a little bit higher than that. The reason could be because they don't have a HODL position going into the halving event. That could be a reason why. Other than that, we'll have to wait until we get to see their quarterly numbers. Possibly they report their numbers every 6 months biannually. So it's a little tough to look at those. We'll see what we get from them. But we'll see, okay? But other than that, I think they're undervalued. But we'll have to take a look at their financials as well to see if that actually makes sense, okay? So that's it for Iris Energy.